Evening, everybody. This is not alcohol, just to clarify. It is, in fact, lemonade with blueberry. I love a bit of blueberry. Yeah, don't look out my hand. Just to introduce these two dickheads, this is Piglet. And for anybody who's audio listening, I'm pointing to a fat corgi cross called Piglet that belongs to Nicole. I also have Bentley, who is a Chihuahua. Both are from Cyprus. Both are rescues. That is another side of what we do. We've been a registered UK charity for 10 years this year, I think.
Okay, so I'm taking charge this time. Mum, when I first got Tourette's...
When you first started ticking?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started ticking, what was your initial, first thought?
Oh, shit.
What?
Literally, oh, shit. What's wrong with her?
Really?
Yeah, oh, fuck. Literally, oh, my God, what's happening? It was panic. But obviously, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I thought you were quite calm about it.
Yeah, I was very calm on the outside. Internally, I was having, a whole meltdown and,
Did you ever cry because of...
Yeah, loads. I've literally got a photo of me sat outside crying on the front doorstep at Gwyn Close. Literally, yeah, crying my eyes out. I was absolutely terrified. And Gara had said to me, I think Nicole's ticking. And I was like...
What's that?
What? No, I said, I've seen, but I don't really know what it is and I don't know what I'm meant to do. She was like, well, you need to get over to a doctor. Because my mum happened to be with us before lockdown, and she ended up being stuck here during lockdown. Because she was over here visiting, wasn't she? Mm. And then, essentially, you started ticking, the week of your birthday. Mm. And, it was between me, you, and my mum, wasn't it, really?
When I was ticking and we were out in public, was there any time that you were just like, oh, I think we should just go home?
Never. I couldn't give a shit what people think.
Really?
Yeah, never. You're my child, and all I worry about is you and how you feel. And if you feel uncomfortable, for example, the other night at the pub, I could see it in your face. You weren't happy, you were uncomfortable, you wanted to go home. And I knew it was going to escalate. I knew you were going to end up having a tick attack. I just knew. But at the beginning, whenever I see you ticking, as long as you're comfortable and I can see you're okay, I will deal with all the people. You know, I've dealt with people. We've had confrontation with people. We've had confrontation with quite a lot of people when you've been ticking, and I have your back. I couldn't give a shit what anyone thinks. And I think that is something that you need to instill into yourself, is not to care, because the whole point is, if you could help your actions, then yeah, of course you'd be ashamed or embarrassed if your child is just being an absolute spoon, wouldn't you? Mm. But the fact that you are not in control of your body is what makes me go, fuck everyone else, got nothing to do with them. The only time I feel like, oh no, inside is when you say something that is
racist or something like that.
Well, you've been, touch wood, you've not been racist, have you? Because whenever you're ticking, you normally manage to say nachos.
Yeah.
Don't you? Rather than a particular word which is racist. But I know when we were out with Leighton and Josh and Glenn, they were saying racist slurs, and all of them were saying, we hate it, we hate it. And the trouble is, it's almost like the more your brain is telling you, and you're telling your brain not to say those things, the more your tics are pushing back against you almost. And a lot of times, we've commented before about your tics that sometimes they're observational tics. Your worst one, which I think I've spoken about before anyway, and to anybody in a wheelchair, please do not think Nicole, when she is ticking, means anything she says. We've got friends that are in wheelchairs, and we've said before, meeting up with them, please don't take any offence, because if you are ticking, your worst tick about wheelchairs is, you can't walk. And for you, I just feel oh my God, that must be terrible. But for me, if anybody in a wheelchair were to turn around and say, and start on you for that, I would have your back 120% and be like, listen, mate, I appreciate it's come out as horrific, but she has got Tourette's. Now, that is where us doing what we do changes things, because hopefully people will start to understand and be educated, so that if you were to say it and someone were to say, oi, hang on, how dare you? And then we say, really sorry, they've got Tourette's, like genuinely. And I don't know, 9 out of 10 when we're out in public, I encourage you to wear your lanyard when you start ticking. So therefore, you would hope that people would be like, oh, mate, no worries, we get it, if they're in a wheelchair, or if they're, I don't know, walking with a limp or whatever. It's almost like your ticks see something and comment. Like when we were, do you remember that time when we were driving to Shrewsbury and there was that person running?
Oh, yeah.
And you looked out the window and you went, oh my God, they're running. And I was like, okay. And then you went, shit, should we be running too? Like, and it was just this like,
You laughed at that
because it was just so off the cuff. Sometimes your ticks just catch me because I don't expect what you're going to say. And like sometimes I can almost predict where your ticks are going to go with something. And it's like an observational thing that you've seen someone running, your ticks have processed that and then been like, fuck, we need to run too. Like, and it is funny. A lot of them are funny, but then there are times when like you'll see somebody who is, for want of a better word, obese, and you'll shout something like fattest at them, like, and you can't help that. So for me, I could not give a shit what you tick, because I know I raised you not to be rude, not to be spiteful, have manners, have respect for people, and to be culturally respectful of people as well. And I've raised you that way, so I know that when you're ticking, you have absolutely zero control and you are not thinking or meaning anything you tick. So it's different. If you were a horrible kid, I wouldn't have your back, would I? Because I'd be like, oh, you're vile. Why would you say that? Like, do you get what I mean?
Have you ever been in a bar or gone out with your friends and your friends have said something, or someone has said something about me or my Tourette's, and you've said something back about it, or you've had an argument with someone about it?
Oh, I've had loads of rows with people.
Go on, do tell. Let's have a story time.
No, I've had lots of rows. You know I have. I will not tolerate anybody being disrespectful about your ticks. And it's funny because we were talking about this the other day. I can't remember who I was talking about. But at the beginning of our journey on social media, when people would say to us, oh, you're faking, this isn't real, blah, blah, blah. At that point, I was so mad and angry that people thought that people would fake something like this, that I ended up getting your medical notes, didn't I? We used to get letters out and like black out the lines to make it so that it, like your NHS numbers and all this sort of stuff, and prove to people like that you had Tourette's and that you were ticking and that we were having MRI scans and having, like, I used to and now I'm in a frame of mind of fuck you, fuck your fucking nastiness, sorry for the swearing, and I don't have to prove anything that we deal with as a family on a daily basis. We do not have to prove the shit we have to go through for you having your ticks. And that isn't meant in a nasty way towards you.
No.
That means that, like, how dare people say it, and who do they think they are? And now I'm in a frame of mind of, I just ignore them all. Obviously there's days when I'm just like either crying or like, but that depends on your mood anyway, doesn't it? Like the same with you, of how you deal with your ticks. Like the other day at the pub, you were having a shitty day, you felt shitty anyway, so when you started ticking, it was just like fucking nail in the coffin of your day, weren't it?
Yeah.
And that was like, and that's normal because you've got feelings. So
it's more difficult as well, because I think it's because I'm a teenage girl, and I think that also is like
emotions are all over the place, 100%, and but that's anybody, male, female, toasters, penguins, everybody has different emotions on different days, and some days someone might come up to you and be like, oh, you're faking, you're full of shit, and you'd be like, oh, whatever, and walk off. Another day, depending on your mood, you'd be like, who the fuck are you talking to? Square it up. Do you know what I mean? It depends what day. Yeah, but it's true, isn't it? It depends.
Square.
Yeah, but it depends on what day as to how you handle a comment. And you could have the same comment on 3 different occasions and have 3 completely different reactions to them because of what mood you're in. But at no time do I ever worry or anything like that being out and about with you when you're ticking. I could not care less. The same as like, I mean, I always say it whenever we're talking about it because I think it's funny. When we've been in restaurants and you shout, my mum's got syphilis. And people look at me and I'm like, sometimes I feel like I shouldn't say I don't, because then it makes people question whether or not what you're saying is real or not.
True.
And I just find it funny because then you're like, people don't know. Some people, like, you could be ticking it because it's real, or you could be ticking it because it's just a random thing to tick. Like, the same as secrets, because we can't always tell you stuff, can we?
But the thing is, though, a lot of it, like, friends, they get kind of nervous to tell me things, and they're like, don't tell anyone. And then I've had conversations, because the thing is, I do have a good, like, friend support kind of group. And the thing is, if I've ticked something, when I was at school.
Yeah.
That's so weird to say. Back in my day when I was at school.
Yeah.
Like, if I had said something, like if someone had said, oh, I like so-and-so, we'd have a conversation beforehand.
Yeah.
And we'd have a conversation beforehand. And I was just like, if I say it, act and laugh.
Yeah.
You've got to laugh. Because if you react, it looks so bait that I've said it. Because the thing is, my tics are so like, if you don't believe me, they're like, yeah, that happened. Yeah, they like you. Oh my god. And it keeps going. So when you just like brush it off, it's almost like they just go, okay, whatever, and they calm down.
Yeah.
So whenever we're in the car and like you don't answer me straight away, I'm just like, Mum.
Yeah,
Mum,
your tics carry on going.
Gets
because
worse.
I've tried, over the years, various ways of dealing with your tics, because I know at the very beginning, a lot of the doctors are like, ignore it. And that is genuinely a lot of
coping.
A lot of what they say is to how to cope with it. But I think as a family, you have to find your own way. And this is why when people come to us, it's about being able to communicate.
I think it's awkward because I've been receiving more messages recently and they're like, oh, I've got Tourette's syndrome. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, cool, like, same. Because the thing is, I don't know actually how to respond. Because you don't want to say, like, oh, same, like, twins, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to respond.
Yeah.
Because I think either way it sounds rude, because I read different messages in different ways. Like, I can almost hear, if someone messages me something, I can hear them saying it to me in a sarcastic way or a rude way.
But that's
because I overthink.
Yeah, no, it's not just about overthinking. It's because we've had to deal with such a lot of people being so horrible. You're immediately on the defence. But that's normal, that's human.
People would message me a few days ago, actually, and someone said, oh, I've got Tourette's, but I don't know how to deal with the tic attacks. How can I deal with them? And I think almost it's difficult for me because all the people that message me are always younger than me. They're never older. And a girl messaged me and I was like, I honestly, I don't know how to help you because I deal with my tic attacks different every time.
Yeah, because your tic attacks are different every time.
So it's different. It's difficult for people when they message me and they're like, help me, like I need help. It's difficult to support them when actually I can barely support myself when I'm still trying to work out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and how to manage.
But the thing is, I do try to message back and go, I'm always here for you. Like, you always hear people say that when you're going through a rough time or something. You're like, oh, I'm there for you. Do you know what I mean? But it's more difficult as well because I feel like mums will message you, I'm assuming.
I get mums, dads, aunties. I even get teachers. Recently I've had quite a lot of teachers. And today I've had a primary school head teacher, a primary school message about them doing a piece on Tourette's. And so they were asking for some advice and some things. But I might, depending on when it is, see if we're available to actually go there to speak to the children. But the only trouble with that is if you are on a day when you're really ticky and you're really sweary ticky, it might not be appropriate. But then, really, if they're trying to educate Tourette's, then they need to see that is what it is, unfortunately.
I'd be down to do that, though.
So, but I get a lot of everybody, and it is a case of trying to. So a lot of people, I feel like because we're on a public platform, people think we have all the answers, but we're the same as everybody else. And all you can say is, for us, from day one, because we've always had this. This is a sit and chill. We've always had this relationship. Cups of tea, biscuits after school. I've always done that with all of you because I wanted to make sure that if you ever had problems or forget Tourette's, because you didn't have that, like if there was anything that you wanted to talk to me about, you would all feel like you could talk to me. So I've always tried to have that relationship with all of you. And I think, in essence, that's actually helped now because we do talk about it. And some days I'm like, you want me to leave you alone today and like ignore your tics, and I can tell by your mood that you're fucked off angry and you don't want to deal with it and you'd rather I didn't communicate with you when you're in those moods.
It's difficult to kind of comprehend because the thing is, I think also with my moods it does change, and obviously I am trying to, every day is very different, and it's difficult to kind of wake up and be all smiley and happy when actually give it an hour after ticking I'm just so drained.
Knackered,
and
yeah.
I'm just like, right, I just want to go sleep. So it's very difficult to kind of like keep my social battery up to talk to people, which is it's good for you that you understand me. And if I say to you, Mum, please just leave me alone, I just need time to myself, like, okay, right, I'll speak to you in about an hour, is that all right? Then I'll shut your door, you can stay in here.
I don't shut her in the room like it's a basement. I'm just like, you need your own space. You just need your own space.
And
but that's a good thing. And it's about, and that is what I tell parents and people. It is about communicating with your child. You need to take the lead. When it's your child that has got Tourette's, as a parent, you need to take the lead from your child, because other days you can come down laughing and jokey, ticky, and it's the most hilarious day, and I know we're going to have a banter day, and I'm like, right, well, she's up for banter today, tics are funny, this is going to be a day of banter, and we'll have to fucking roll with it.
But also, you've said to me maybe once or twice or a couple of times where you've just gone, Nicole, I'm having a really bad day, please can I have space, I just need a minute.
Yeah.
Even when I am ticking. But the thing is, I think people would go, that's so cruel. I don't think it's cruel. Every person deserves their own space, time.
Yes.
And sometimes you aren't ready to deal with it, and sometimes you do need, because it is a lot.
Because not everybody, because we're family, but not everybody's emotions in the household marry up on the same day that we're all feeling the same thing. So I could be having a really off day, you come down and you're like full bore into tics, and there was times when you were one of your tics and it used to none of them have ever upset me. None of them have ever upset me because I know it. You're not saying it, so that's the difference. But when you're coming down, and I was having shitty time about my weight, and I fucking hated myself. I hated looking in the mirror, and your tics were like, fat cunt, and I'm like, ah. And then you'd be like, you're a fat cunt, and I'd be like, for fuck's sake,
I think
not
there was
today.
There was multiple times though.
Do you know when you're just like, I can't today, I can't. Yeah, but even when you used to tick. So obviously a lot of you will or will not know my best friend who passed away, or two of my best friends who passed away. One of them, Marissa, you like in here there's photos of her and you would be ticking and you'd go, ha ha, she's dead. I don't know why I imitate you when I do your tics. I'm so sorry.
So
I don't mean to. It's just because I'm doing your tick, and that is what happens.
You don't need to do it.
So sorry, I'll stop. So when like you'll see a picture of Marissa, you'll be like, ha ha, she's dead or whatever. And you would then get upset because you can't, and then when you're getting upset, you tick it even more. It's almost like a cruel, twisted, fucked up joke having Tourette's, because it almost, whatever your emotion you have, it almost is like, fuck you, I'm going to have to stitch you up even more with it.
Because I think also, I had 14 rats, I had 13 rats at one point.
Oh, that was one of your worst tick attacks.
I think the thing is, I love my rats, I love my dog, I love having them. But I think the one thing that I do dread is when I lose, ultimately, all of them. And I think I lost them pretty much in pairs.
Yeah, you did. A lot of them was in pairs. It was unfortunate.
Because they were all roughly the same age.
Yeah.
It was very like, 1 week she'd go, then the other one would go, and then that one would go, and it was very close together because.
But when you lost Bear,
that was the
and
worst
when you lost,
tick attack.
No, Bear wasn't.
Dobby.
Chubby. Was it Chubby or Dobby?
Dobby and Chubbs were really bad.
Yeah, and it was Dobby and Chubbs you lost at the same time, was it?
Yeah,
not? Yeah, and that you lost one, and then literally within a week, it was like the other one pined for it because they like to be in pairs. Rats don't like living on their own, and it was almost like the other one died
and
because the other one died.
Remy was bad,
and her ticks picked up. It's when we explain about her ticks, and people say, you know, what sets it off, what triggers it. It's not any particular emotion. It's everything. When you're excited, your ticks are like on fire. When you're sad, your ticks are on fire. When you're angry, your ticks are on fire. It makes no difference what emotion it is.
When I'm sad, though, I don't really. If I'm sad, as in like I'm sad about something and I'm crying, it's not. I'm normally fine. Like if I'm just having a bad day and I'm crying, I'm normally fine. But if it's more like I'm like because I get angry and I cry. And I'll get sad, and then I just kind of like whip between the two. When I lost Chubbs, and I was sat at the table, and like it was almost like my Tourette's was mocking myself.
Yeah,
like it's very different.
I cried then.
Yeah,
you were sat at the table then, and you didn't see me. And when I went in to make a cup of tea, and I said I'm making a cup of tea and getting you water, I was stood in the kitchen with the kettle going. Like fighting back the tears. I was crying in the kitchen. Callum came in and comforted me. Then he came to you, and then your ticks escalated and you ended up in a really bad tick attack. I actually think that was one of the ones when we ended up with an ambulance here for you. I genuinely think that was one of those ones. And it was
horrific. It was horrific.
I may find that video and see if we can put a tiny overlay of it to show, depending on how you feel when we look at it, for people. But people don't. I mean, there are quite a few creators that do share tick attacks. But everybody's are different. Because they're not the same, and this is what's difficult.
There's people that have tick attacks because every person with Tourette's is different.
Yeah, it's a fingerprint. What we want to try and get across is everybody who's got Tourette's is like a fingerprint. There's millions and millions of people on the planet, and we all have a different fingerprint. Yeah. So everybody with Tourette's is like a different Tourette's. It's a different thing.
It's difficult because some people's tick attack is
your normal day
for me.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, and they're like, I struggle so much. This is my tick attack, and almost I give them sympathy, but almost I'm just like I deal with that all the time. I don't really. It's not really that hard. But the thing is, everyone's different,
and people can't
deal and cope because it is tiring, and I get tired. There's so much hair on me. It's not good.
But the other thing is, as well, is your mentality of it. And that is why, which we spoke about briefly in our last podcast convo, was about, and you had said that I've kind of brought you up not to be a victim to it, and to have your down days when you're having a down day, but pick yourself up.
I don't post about it. I don't because I feel like I don't think it's necessary to post about it, and I think it's just a bit, in my eyes, quite silly. I just think it's a bit like, oh, I've got Tourette's. Oh, this is so hard. Like, you have every right to feel sad about it, but I don't think it is something that needs to be like.
Don't want their sympathy stuff because you're quite a strong, independent character, and I'm glad that you're coming out that way, and I'm glad that is the mentality you have, because what I've said to you before when you have been on a down day is, are you going to be on a down day for the rest of your life? Because you have this for the rest of your life. Whether you like it or not, we cannot change that. And right this second, you've got to deal with this. So if you can't learn to live with it and love yourself and be happy, what's the point in life? Because you cannot live like that. It would be awful. What a horrible existence to live feeling that way. So you have to learn to love everything about yourself. And that is part of you. Tourette's isn't your personality. It's not you. It's just part of you. Mm. It's a piece. It's not the whole of you. And I think as long as you have that, and as long as people with tics and Tourette's learn that it is an extension of you rather than you, full stop.
Yeah. Because I think people, I think that's the one thing I kind of try not to Because this could be taken in two ways. Because when people initially see me, some people don't call me Nicole. They go, "Oh my god, that's the Tourette's girl."
Yeah, but
this is how I'm known. So it's kind of like, I think it's a bit like the Tourette's girl. Do you know what I mean? And you can take it in two ways. Like, they know me like that. That's like pretty sick. I'm known as the Tourette's girl. But then you can also take it and be like, Tourette's girl.
Yeah, but it's because that's how you've become well known from being on social media, is because of your Tourette's. You weren't on there just as a person doing what you were doing. You've been on there sharing that side, and that is what it is. But I think you should take it as a positive thing. I really don't think you should take that as negative, because all the people that follow us and support us are because of that. So you saying it like that, okay, you would prefer it if people knew your name, but some people don't invest themselves enough to know your name, to know my name. Because people say, "Oh, you're the mum of the girl that's got Tourette's." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." Or some people say, "You're the mum of Nicole, aren't you?" Nobody knows my name. No one gives a shit about what my name is. They just know that I'm associated with you. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't take that as a negative thing, because it's not meant. I know, he's a little donut. So I think, why do you need your ears cleaning out as well, bud?
Let me look at your TVs.
Leave him alone. Yes, he
You've got
has.
gap in your TVs, you old boy.
He's not old.
He is. Look at his face. He's all grey.
If only little dogs lived the same length of time than big dogs.
Why do they live so much longer?
I don't know. My Yorkshire Terrier,
Why do you live so much longer?
I got her when I was 7, and she lived till I was 16.
So 9 years.
Oh no, she must have been older than that. No, did I get her when I was 7? Maybe I was younger. My mum and dad were really bad. They bought me a puppy for a birthday present.
God bought me a
No.
Piglet.
I got you Piglet.
No, I asked Gar for it.
No, but I paid for her.
Yeah, but Gar got her for me from the shelter. She picked her.
Oh, brilliant. So she's responsible for the knobhead dog.
Piglet. Piggy.
She is literally a pig. You picked the perfect name, because she is a big fat
Are you a good girl?
Look at her.
Pig, come here. Pig, come here.
She's like, oh, it requires effort to move, but because it's you,
Come
Mum.
here. Come on, baby. Oh, hello.
Bentley's getting squashed by the fat pig. It's all right, Bentley. I'll rescue you.
No, babe.
I got you, mate. Don't you worry.
She's not fat. She's gorgeous.
So essentially,
She's scared of me when I'm ticking.
essentially, yeah, she does get scared. Actually,
She doesn't like it.
she doesn't like it when Nicole ticks. She really hates it. She gets upset and she goes away from you, doesn't she? Mostly, when you start whistling, and she knows she can't deal with it. She hates it. She goes away.
It's normally, she loves me like I'm her mum. Like she'll come and sit with me.
She'll do anything for Nicole. That dog. She won't do anything for anybody else.
You're a good girl, young you. Just because I give her so many like rewards.
Well, she's your dog. She's your dog.
And she sleeps. Do you know how she sleeps? It's so off topic. So I have at least 7 pillows in my bed.
It's ridiculous.
Number one, because my best friend Piper's always over, and she has to have the perfect amount, and she has to have anyway.
It's ridiculous. The
So-
amount of pillows.
And plus, there's a gap down my bed, so I have to shove some pillows down there as well. And Piglet gets 2 pillows that have to be the same height, otherwise she won't sit on them. I have to put it down, and then I've got a Mickey Mouse blanket. I put it over so she doesn't get her hair, because she's got such long hair sometimes. She sheds, so she sits on the pillows in the middle of them and goes to sleep next to me, because she's a little princess. But yeah, whenever I start whistling, she normally will kind of look at me, and then I'll say bye, and she'll run away. And then when I stop ticking, she'll come and sit and lick my face, because she's cute.
Yeah, she hates it when you tick. Whereas Rory,
Rory
boxer,
gets on top of me.
He gets on top of you. I think we should have a whole nother conversation actually about podcasts and animals and stuff like that another time.
We should.
I think we should do that another one. But if there is any questions that anyone want to ask about Tourette's, if there's anything that people don't know, or they feel like they want more information on, then let us know in the comments, and we will endeavour to do more podcasts about it. So,
Right,
This is Jodie's journey.
Signing out.
Whoop, whoop.